मूर्ख निराज रे, क्यों न हरि को नाम ले। मूर्ख निराज रे, क्यों न हरि को नाम ले। मूर्ख निराज रे, क्यों न हरि को नाम ले। मूर्ख निराज रे, क्यों न हरि को नाम ले। मूर्ख निराज रे, क्यों न हरि को नाम ले। मूर्ख निराज रे, मूर्ख निराज रे, मूर्ख निराज रे। बीत जय बीत जय जन्म अकाज रे। 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 क्यों न हरि को नाम ले। मूर्ख निराज रे, क्यों न हरि को नाम ले। मूर्ख निराज रे, क्यों न हरि को नाम ले। मूर्ख निराज रे, क्यों न हरि को नाम ले। मूर्ख निराज रे। निस दिन सुनते पुराण, समझत नहीं रे अजान। निस दिन सुनते पुराण, समझत नहीं रे अजान। समझत नहीं रे अजान, समझत नहीं रे अजान। काल को पहुँचो आन, कहाँ जय भाज रे। काल को पहुँचो आन, कहाँ जय भाज रे। हरि को नाम ले। मूर्ख निराज रे, क्यों न हरि को नाम ले। मूर्ख निराज रे, क्यों न हरि को नाम ले। मूर्ख निराज रे, क्यों न हरि को नाम ले। मूर्ख निराज रे। अस्थिर जो मान्यो देह, सो तो दिल हुए हैं खेल। जो मान्यो देह, सो तो दिल हुए ਮਿਲੇ ਮੂਰਖ ਮਿਲਾਂਗੇ ਕਿਉਂ ਨਾ ਹਰ ਕੋ ਨਾਮ ਮਿਲੇ ਮੂਰਖ ਮਿਲਾਂਗੇ ਕਿਉਂ ਨਾ ਹਰ ਕੋ ਨਾਮ ਮਿਲੇ ਮੂਰਖ ਮਿਲਾਂਗੇ ਕਿਉਂ ਨਾ ਹਰ ਕੋ ਨਾਮ ਮਿਲੇ ਮੂਰਖ ਸਭ ਮੁਖ ਵਿਚਲ ਰਹਿਣ ਗਈ ਮਤ ਦਿਨ ਵੀ ਜਾਏ ਔਰ ਗਏ ਬਦ ਬੈਠੇ ਆਏ ਜੀ ਕਿਉਂ ਨਾਮ ਲੈ ਕਿਉਂ ਡੈਫੀਨੇਸ਼ਨ ਦੱਸਣਾ ਕਿੱਦਾਂ ਬੀਤਦਾ ਜਾ ਰਿਹਾ ਜੀ। ਪਹਿਲੇ ਸ਼ਬਦ ਵਿੱਚ ਕੁਝ ਸਰਸ ਪਾਉਣਾ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ। ਪਹਿਲੇ ਪਿਆਰ ਲਗਾ ਥਾਂ ਦੁੱਧ ਦੂਜੇ ਮਾਏ ਬਾਪ ਕੀ ਸੁਧ ਤੀਜੇ ਭਈਆ ਭਾਬੀ ਵੇਬ ਚੌਥੇ ਪਿਆਰ ਪੰਖੀ। ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਤਾਂ ਇਹ ਬਤਾਓ ਦੁੱਧ ਭੁੱਖ ਲੱਗੀ ਹੈ ਬੱਚਾ ਦੁੱਧ ਮੰਗਦਾ ਮਾਂ ਦੁੱਧ ਪਿਆ ਦਿੰਦੀ ਬਸ ਪਹਿਲਾ ਪਿਆਰ। ਪਹਿਲੇ ਪਿਆਰ ਲਗਾ ਥਣ ਦੁੱਧ ਦੂਜੇ ਮਾਏ ਬਾਪ ਦੀ ਸੁਧ ਤੀਜੇ ਭਈਆ ਭਾਬੀ ਵੇ ਚੌਥੇ ਪਿਆਰ ਬੰਨੀ ਖੇ ਪੰਜਵੇਂ ਖਾਣ ਪੀਣ ਕੀ ਧਾਤ ਪੰਜਵੇਂ ਖਾਣ ਪੀਣ ਕੀ ਧਾਤ ਛੇਵੇਂ ਕਾਮ ਨ ਪੁੱਛੇ ਜਾਤ ਸਤਵੇਂ ਸੰਜ ਕੀਆ ਘਰ ਵਾਸ ਅੱਠਵੇਂ ਕ੍ਰੋਧ ਹੁਆ ਤਨ ਨਾਸ ਨਾਵੇਂ ਘੋੜੇ ਉਪੇਸ਼ਾ ਦਸਵੇਂ ਦਰਦਾ ਹੋਆ ਸਵਾਮੀ ਬੀਤਦੇ ਹੈ ਜਨਮ ਅਕਾਲ 10 ਬਾਲ ਤਨ 20 ਰਵਣ तीसा का सुंदर कहावे बीत जाए 10 बाल तन 20 रवण तीसा का सुंदर कहावे 40 पुर हुए 85 पग फिसे 60 पे बूढ़े पावे 70 का मतहीन 70 का मतहीन 80 का व्यवहार न पावे 90 ਆਸਣੀ ਮੂਲ ਨ ਜਾਣੇ ਆਪ ਬਲ ਟੰਡੋਲਮ ਟੂੰਡਮ ਡਿਠ ਮੈਂ ਨਾਨਕ ਜਗ ਤੂਏ ਕਾ ਹਰ ਜੀ ਬੀਤ ਜੈ ਜਨਮ ਆਕਾਸ਼ ਬੀਤ ਜੈ ਜਨਮ ਆਕਾਸ਼ ਕਿਉ ਨਾ ਹਰਿ ਕੋ ਨਾਮ ਲੈ ਨਿਲਾਜ ਰੇ ਕਿਉ ਨਾ ਹਰਿ ਕੋ ਨਾਮ ਲੈ ਮੂਰਖ ਨਿਲਾਜ ਰੇ ਕਿਉ ਨਾ ਹਰਿ ਕੋ ਨਾਮ ਲੈ ਮੂਰਖ ਨਿਲਾਜ ਰੇ ਕਿਉ ਨਾ ਹਰਿ ਕੋ ਨਾਮ ਲੈ ਮੂਰਖ ਨਿਲਾਜ ਰਾਮ ਭਗਤੀ ਹੀਏ ਆਨ ਸਵਾਦ ਦੇ ਮਨ ਕੋ ਮਾਨ ਛਾੜ ਦੇ ਛਾੜ ਦੇ ਮਨ ਕੋ ਮਾਨ ਛਾੜ ਦੇ ਮਨ ਕੋ ਮਾਨ ਛਾੜ ਦੇ ਮਨ ਕੋ ਮਾਨ ਰਾਮ ਭਗਤ ਹੀਏ ਆਨ ਛਾੜ ਦੇ ਮਨ ਕੋ ਮਾਨ ਨਾਨਕ ਜਨ ਇਹ ਬਖਾਨ ਜਗ ਮੈਂ ਬਿਰਾਜੇ ਨਾਨਕ ਜਨ ਇਹ ਬਖਾਨ ਜਗ ਮੈਂ ਬਿਰਾਜੇ ਕਿਉ ਨਾ ਹਰਿ ਕੋ ਨਾਮ ਲੈ ਮੂਰਖ ਨਿਲਾਜ ਰੇ ਕਿਉ ਨਾ ਹਰਿ ਕੋ ਨਾਮ ਲੈ ਮੂਰਖ ਨਿਲਾਜ ਰੇ ਕਿਉ ਨਾ ਹਰਿ ਕੋ ਨਾਮ ਲੈ ਕਿਉ ਨਾ ਹਰਿ ਕੋ ਨਾਮ ਲੈ ਮੂਰਖ ਕਿਉ ਨਾ ਹਰਿ ਕੋ ਨਾਮ ਲੈ ਕਿਉ ਨਾ ਹਰਿ ਕੋ ਨਾਮ ਲੈ ਕਿਉ ਨਾ ਹਰਿ ਕੋ ਮੂਰਖ ਨਿਲਾਜ ਰੇ ਮੂਰਖ ਨਿਲਾਜ ਰੇ ਮੂਰਖ ਨਿਲਾਜ ਰੇ ਜੀਵਨ ਗੁਰੂ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜੀ ਦਾ ਬਹੁਤ ਪਿਆਰਾ ਬਚਨ हरगोबिंद सिंह ने पहली बार मिले एक वक्रे व्यवहार पै गए क्योंकि साढ़े परिवार का पिछोकड़ है जितों सानू कीर्तन की दात मिली है। साढ़े परिवार 6 भाषा लगातार कीर्तन करता है। मेरे तो 6 सतवीं पीढ़ी सारी ਜਿਹੜੇ ਸਾਡੇ ਬਜ਼ੁਰਗ ਸਨ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਨਾਮ ਵੀ ਹਰਗੋਬਿੰਦ ਸੀ। ਹਰਗੋਬਿੰਦ ਭਾਈ ਦੀ ਮृत्यु ਕਰਕੇ ਅੱਜ ਵੀ ਪਾਕਿਸਤਾਨ ਗੁਜਰਾਂਵਾਲਾ ਵਿੱਚ ਸਾਡਾ ਪਿੰਡ ਹੈ, ਉੱਥੇ ਸਾਡੇ ਬਜ਼ੁਰਗ ਨੇ। ਹਿਸਟਰੀ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਉੱਥੇ ਗੁਰੂ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜੀ ਨੇ ਸਾਡੇ ਬਜ਼ੁਰਗ ਨੂੰ ਸੀਸਾਂ ਦਿੱਤੀਆਂ ਸੀ। ਸਾਡੇ ਚੋਰੀ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਆਪਣੇ ਘਰ ਹੀ ਬਣਾਇਆ। ਉਦੋਂ ਤੋਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਸਾਡਾ ਪਰਿਵਾਰ ਕੀਰਤਨ ਕਰਦੇ ਆ ਰਹੇ। ਜਦ ਮੈਂ ਹਰਗੋਬਿੰਦ ਨੂੰ ਮਿਲਿਆ ਤੇ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਉਹ ਗੱਲ ਯਾਦ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਸਾਡੇ ਪਰਿਵਾਰ ਨੂੰ ਕੀਰਤਨ ਉਸ ਹਰਗੋਬਿੰਦ ਭਾਈ ਦੀ ਮृत्यु ਤੋਂ ਸਾਡੇ ਬਜ਼ੁਰਗ ਹੋਏ ਉੱਥੋਂ ਵੀ। ਤੇ ਇੱਕ ਉਹ ਗੱਲ ਦਿਮਾਗ ਵਿੱਚ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਕਿ ਮੇਰਾ ਕਾਫੀ ਟਾਈਮ ਪਿਆਰ ਸੀ। ਇੱਕ ਐਜ਼ ਏ ਫਰੈਂਡ ਐਜ਼ ਏ ਦੋਸਤ ਆਪਾਂ ਮਿਲਦੇ ਹੀ ਨਾ, ਐਜ਼ ਏ ਗੁਰਸਿੱਖੀ ਭਾਈ ਤੋਂ ਮਿਲਦੇ ਨਹੀਂ, ਪਰ ਮੇਰਾ ਬਹੁਤ ਸਤਿਕਾਰ ਵੱਧ ਗਿਆ ਜਦੋਂ ਪਹਿਲੀ ਵਾਰੀ ਹਰਗੋਬਿੰਦ ਦੀ ਸਰਜਰੀ ਹੋਈ। तो मैं अक्सर संगत को तो मेरी टीम शेयर की दृढ़ता भरोसा कितना इस मेरे वीर जब मैं हॉस्पिटल मिलने आया मेरी पहली सर्जरी हुई थी। मैं फतेह बुलाई बैठा हुए तो मैं पूछा कि तो ठीक है तो मैं पूछा दर्द तो नहीं ज्यादा होंगे तो इन्हें एक ऐसा जवाब दिता जिसके मेरा उत्थे बैठा अखा च अथरू आ गया। क्योंकि सर्जरी हो करके जितों सारे वाल डॉक्टर ने किए हुए थे वो सारे नजर आते टाँके। मैंने ने एक गल कही कहता नाउ आई कैन फील पाइथागोरस पेन। मतलब कि ऐसा मन होया कि इन्नी दृढ़ता दुख में सुख मनाने वाली गल वर्तन अखा च मैं देख रहा कि सिर के टांके लगे हुए ने, खोपड़ी खुली हुई साफ नजर आ रहे थे। जो मेरे मैं एक दिन पहला 2 दिन पहले सर्जरी हुई सी उन्होंने पट्टी खोली सी तो मैं कोल बैठा सी लंबी पैंती सी एक सिंह जो ये वचन सुनी मैं मेरा मत्था चलना मुस्तक साढ़े चरा का सिर पीड़ होगा तो बुरियां खाने ओदी सुरत कितने लगी हुई सी। हरगोबिंद ने जो मैंने ये गल की ना हरगोबिंद सिंह ने कहता भी नाउ आई कैन फील पाइथागोरस पेन मेरा सिर चुक गया। लास्ट टाइम जो फोन आया कि बेटी मांगा कि उन्हें आप ये विश किए कि उन्हें पता चल गया सी सबको पता सी पर चलो फिर भी एक उम्मीद गुरु साहब की सी की शायद पर हुक्मेंदर साहब को बाहर करना कोई सारा कुछ हुक्म चाहिए। सो साधु का हुक्म उन्होंने हमको पूरा पता सी कि हुक्म हो गया तो हम जाना तो वीर जी का फोन आया कि वो लास्ट विषय की और अंतिम लास्ट से तुम कीर्तन मैं जब लास्ट टाइम मिला थे करीब गया बैठ के पानी पड़ी बाजा बंगला पानी सी और हाथ फाड़ के जना मारे ने कृपा की मैं पानी शब्द सुनाई पूरा मन सी क्योंकि मैं ऐसे तो वापस आया पहला प्लान बन रहा है कि कीर्तन हो जाए और वो फिर कहते भी हजे नहीं हो सकता थोड़ा रोके मैं इंडिया जाना मैं वापस ऐसे तो आया 2 दिन सिर्फ हरगोबिंद मैंने ये सीखे कि नहीं एक गुरु का लाज कि वो गल मेरे दिमाग बसी वो जरा सत्कार पहला तो एज ए दोस्त एज ए गुरसिख गतका भी खेलता से सत्कार सारा कैलिफोर्निया गतका सारे से प्यार करते पर एक उदन जी सर्जरी वाले दिन इन्हें मेरी मन अंदर अपनी जगह बना दी ना कि इन्ना भरोसा इन्नी दृढ़ता गुरु ते इन्ना प्यार कि पाइथागोरस की पेन कहता है कि मैं फील कर रहा ताने ऐसे हो सकता। और जब लास्ट टाइम मिले उन्होंने मेरी अखा से देखा से पूरी चढ़ बाणी सुनी गल्लां कीतियां सब रहमत करन जिवें कि तैयार से उन्हें पता सी कि मेरा समा आ गया तो हुण मैं जाना तो तुसीं वेख सकदे सी कि उहदी अखां च उन्हें कमर कसा किया है कि उन्हें पता सी कि मैं चले जाना। सो ऐसे भी यही अरदास है सतगुरु नाम करन। आओ जिवें ਆਪਾਂ ਗੱਲ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਨਾ कि वो कमर कसा तैयार करके गुरबाणी ऐदा गुरु सर समझाना करके ना सारे रल के गाइए। जैसी आज्ञा कीनी ठाकुर तिसते मुख नहीं मोरियो, सहज आनंद रखियो ग्रह भीतर उठ रूहां को दौड़ियो। जैसी आज्ञा कीनी ठाकुर तिसते मुख नहीं मोरियो, सहज आनंद रखियो ग्रह भीतर उठ रूहां को दौड़ियो। जैसी आज्ञा कीनी ठाकुर तिसते मुख नहीं मोरियो, सहज आनंद रखियो ग्रह भीतर उठ रूहां को दौड़ियो। उठ रूहां को सेवक की ओढ़त सेवक की ओढ़त नहीं प्रीतम, सेवक की ओढ़त नहीं प्रीतम, सेवक की ओढ़त नहीं प्रीतम। जीवत साहिब से अपना, जीवत साहिब से अपना, चलते राख्यो चलते राख्यो चलते राख्यो जीव, चलते राख्यो जीव। जैसी आज्ञा कीनी ठाकुर तिसते मुख नहीं मोरियो, जैसी आज्ञा कीनी ठाकुर तिसते मुख नहीं मोरियो, सहज आनंद रखियो ग्रह भीतर उठ रूहां को दौड़ियो। उठ रूहां को दौड़ियो, सहज आनंद रखियो ग्रह भीतर दौड़ियो। मान मोह अल्लोभ विकारा, पिया जीत ना कालियो, पिया जीत ना कालियो। नाम रता गुणा हर बण जे, नाम रतन गुणा हर बण जे, लाद वखर ले जालियो, लाद वखर ले जालियो। सेवक की ओढ़त नहीं प्रीतम, जैसी आज्ञा कीनी ठाकुर तिसते मुख नहीं मोरियो, जैसी आज्ञा कीनी ठाकुर तिसते मुख नहीं मोरियो, सहज आनंद रखियो ग्रह उठ रूहां को दौड़ियो। सहज आनंद को सबने हालत भलाता तन सेवक सफल हो आया तन सेवक सफल हो जन नानक खसम बचाता जिन नानक खसम बचाता जैसी आज्ञा जैसी आज्ञा की ठाकुर इससे मुख नहीं हो रे हो सहज आनंद रखियो कह पीतर उठ मुहाको आज्ञा में भूख सोई तर सूखा आज्ञा में भूख सोई तर सूखा सोभ हरख नहीं जानियो सोभ हरख नहीं जानियो जो जो हुक्म पायो साहिब का जो जो हुक्म पायो जो जो हुक्म पायो साहिब का जो जो हुक्म पायो सो माथे मानियो सो माथे मानियो जैसी आज्ञा की ठाकुर इसके मुख नहीं बोले हो सहज आनंद रखे हो कह पीतर कुछ मुहा को दौरे हो कुछ मुहा को दौरे हो कुछ मुहा को दौरे हो एक माया है दोनों वाली दुनिया में दोनों वाली अपनी पूरी चढ़ती कला उन्हें पता से न चले तो कोई गिला शिकवा नहीं था किसी गुरु प्रति किसी प्राणी प्रति कोई एन पूरी चढ़ती कला सत्संग मत कर देव सज्जन अस्सी सड़ियां जो होवे साहिब सियों में जो होवे साहिब सियों में वाहिगुरू साहिब सिमरिए सदन हारा सिमरिए वाहिगुरु 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 सतन हारा सिमरिए सतन हारा सिमरिए नानक से नानक से देव सज्जन आशीष दिया देव सज्जन आशीष दिया जो होवे साहिब से होवे जो होवे साहिब से होवे देव सज्जन आशीष दिया देव सज्जन आशीष दिया जो होवे साहिब से होवे 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 अब एक असीस तरह वो शुरू करती फिर दूसरा होगा जाए बसो वड भागणी सखीए संता संग समाये देहा सजन ऐसी सड़िया देहा सजन 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 ऐसी सड़िया जो हुए साहिब से मेल जाए बसो वट भागणी सखीए संता संग समाये जाए बसो वट भागणी सखीए संता संग समाये संता संग समाये संता संग समाये जाए बसो
Thank you, Guruji, Simran, Harpreet, for your keeping Seva. We're going to have a few minutes of eulogies here. We have a few friends and a couple of family members who are going to speak and share a few stories of Harpreet Singh. I just want to quickly, I know we have some friends who are not Punjabi native speakers here, and there are a few things that Anantapuri Guruji was sharing. I just want to quickly translate some of those because they're quite important. So Anantapuri Guruji was actually talking about sort of his connection to Hargobind, sort of physical connection. Obviously, they were friends for a long time, but he was talking also about Hargobind's name is actually, he's named after the sixth Guru of the sixth, Guru Hargobind Pacha, and he was named by actually his mother. And Anantapuri Guruji was talking about how his family has been doing Kirtan Seva, singing the hymns for 300 years now. So from the time of Chheme Pacha. So that's kind of that connection that comes in through space and time. So I wanted to thank Guruji for sharing that story. And also, there was another reference he made multiple times. When Hargobind had his first surgery, he actually had two first surgeries, which lasted about 10 hours. So he came out, Hargobind was pretty amazing in terms of responding to surgeries, and he would come out of surgeries pretty fast. So Anantapuri Guruji was one of the first few friends who came to see him in the hospital. And one of the first things, we saw Hargobind, he asked him, hey, how are you doing? And Hargobind basically mentioned, now I know what it feels like to be Bhai Tara Singh. And Bhai Tara Singh was among the many thousands and countless of Sikhs who have been martyred in our past. So Bhai Tara Singh actually had his scalp basically removed. That's how he was killed in Fortune. And that was sort of the reference that Hargobind had made, that I kind of feel, because he actually had pretty much half of his skull removed for the surgery, and he's had 8 surgeries over the last 2.5 years. So those were sort of the highlights that I wanted to share with you. So we're going to have Harpreet quickly share his connection with Hargobind. Then we have a second Harpreet who's going to share. We have Nicole. Let me see. Nicole's there. Nicole's going to go 3, number 3rd. Meet is going to go 4th. I'm going to go 5th, and then David's going to conclude, and then we'll do it on the part, and then we'll conclude. So Harpreet already. And actually, if we can, I think stay here, this is perfect. So, just so you know, we're Facebook living this, and those little wooden pieces you see, which my phone is sitting on, are actually Hargobind's. He used to take a lot of selfies, and those were built and constructed by Hargobind Singh. So we're channeling a little bit of Harbind's creation.
It is a very tough task following Bhai Sardar Manpreet Singh Ji. When I was coming up here, I was thinking about Hargobind Ji, and the first time that Harsimrannath and I actually met Hargobind Ji was when we were about 8 and 10 years old in California. We had just come over from India and come to this brand new place. We didn't have any friends, and our parents were very busy making ends meet and working most of the time. So coming to a new place and not having a lot of friends and a lot of connection and getting to know the Sangha was a tall task in itself. But being sick and tying the stars on our heads and going to school and dealing with bullying and all those other aspects that come into lives of adjusting in the American culture brought in its own challenges. And I remember the first time we went to Gurdwara Sahib, we went to Alhambra Gurdwara Sahib, and we saw the Singh do Gatka. He was dressed up in a blue chola. He had a blue dastar. He had a khanda, a big khanda, the biggest khanda that I've seen on his dastar. And I remember he had like an extra kapda that extended beyond his dastar and onto his shoulders. And the first thing I could think was, man, that is really cool. How is he able to extend his kapda onto his shoulders? And he used to teach Gatka to all the youth, time to the local youth, and teach them Gatka, and continue to dedicate that time on a week over week basis. I don't remember Hargobind Singh ever taking a Sunday off. And it really showed the kind of commitment he had to the youth that were in our community. And he extended that years on years on years. When our parents were really busy trying to make ends meet and adjusting to this new lifestyle, Hargobind was the one who actually showed us around. He loved Los Angeles, and he loved the natural treasures that it offers. He used to say that nobody ever looks at because they always end up going to the popular places. But he was the one who showed us the beauty of Los Angeles, took us to beaches, really became that de facto parent on the weekends to help us explore, get out of our shell, which often is so difficult to young kids adjusting to a new lifestyle. And if it weren't for him and him going beyond just being a gut teacher and really taking that role in our lives, nobody had asked him. We never asked him, hey, can you hang out with us? Hey, can you be our friend? He naturally kind of became that. I don't think we would have been able to succeed or do the things that we've been able to do. And I remember over the last month and 2 months, I have seen countless messages on Facebook about similar stories that young Sikhs have shared across the coast, from the West Coast to East Coast, and kids now who are now in their 20s sharing the same stories. Hargobind Singh didn't just teach us Gatka, he taught us how to be confident. He taught us self-defense. He taught us that you can, go out and about and do the things you want to do without being fearful and being strong in your beliefs, because you are Guru Sikh and you have this dhat and you should be proud of that. And I can only imagine how many countless youth that he saved from going down the wrong path, that he helped stay connected to Sikhi in a different way. And never once did he take credit for it. Never once. I think there's countless things that I can say about him, and it's not enough. It's not enough the amount of impact that he's had on myself and other youth across the U.S. It is just amazing. And so the one thing that I wish I can do to honor Hargobind Singh's legacy is continue that seva forward. As if I can even do the 5% or 10% of what Hargobind Singh did with our upcoming youth, I think it would be amazing. Thank you so much to Panji for inviting us. That really is Hargobind Singh's legacy.
ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ।
ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ, ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ। Sangat ji, I've known Hargobind Singh for a few years, and just want to share a few memories with everybody. My first memory of Hargobind was when Kabir introduced me to him at the Manhattan Sikh Association Divan, and I saw like this Caucasian Sikh with this, like, I can't remember what color it was, but it was a pretty bright colored dastar, and he had the coolest muncha, so you could not miss him. I remember him, like, he was quite quiet when I first met him, and he didn't speak very loud, and but I kind of remember thinking that his like quietness is completely off balanced with his muncha, because they're really loud. And I was like, thought that we would be like good friends, because we found that we were both really interested in Gatka, and he mentioned one of his teachers, Nanak Dev Singh, and we didn't quite figure out the connection, but I think it might be the same teacher that I went to see in the Netherlands one time as well, so I think we have some lineage there. So as I later got to know him, and I also learned that he has an enthusiasm for veggie burgers like me. And so one time we did this day trip to go and try out the new Impossible Burger, which he'd sent me an email about. We were both really excited about trying it. And this was after he'd had a few surgeries. So getting around Manhattan in a wheelchair is actually surprisingly difficult, given how much money there is in the city and the huge number of people that pass through each day. But we made it. And I remember we really enjoyed it. We had ordered a side salad so that we could like honestly tell our wives that we did choose the healthy option, and we didn't mention the fries. But I remember that day we had a conversation. Hargobind was telling me that dealing with this condition was challenging, but through the conversation he kept on reiterating that he was really lucky to have the Veer in his life, and how much of a support she was for him, and that she put up with everything. Thinking about Hargobind, it just reminded me that growing up I used to hear about a concept called Veer Ras. And I remember when I was younger I tried researching it in the early days of the internet, but I couldn't really find much about it. And my kind of minimal understanding was that it's a state of mind that Guru Gobind Singh entered when he was on the battlefield. And it meant that he fought with passion and compassion, instead of anger. It's kind of the idea of the gentle warrior. And myself and you may have also heard a number of people refer to Hargobind as a gentle warrior. And just personally seeing his Jati class throughout all of my interactions with him during his battle with cancer just gave me that glimpse of what Veeras might really look like. Hargobind was a special soul, and I'm grateful to Waheguru for crossing our paths. And even though it was brief, Hargobind Singh will remember your light, and those of us left behind will try to find strength in each other through Sangat and Simran. Please forgive me if I said anything wrong. Bhul chuk maaf. Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh.
Alright, so I'm going to pass it on to Nicole, who's a friend and co-worker of Hargobind actually when he moved to New York from LA. So sort of a glimpse from a different part of his life.
Hi everyone. So Hargobind came to work for me at Grow NYC. I run the Fresh Food Box program. We bring fresh vegetables to people all over the city. And whenever I'm hiring people, I'm always looking for someone new, someone from a community that maybe I don't know yet. I myself my dad's black and a Native American and Irish, and my mom's a Russian Jew. So you can imagine diversity is pretty important to me. And I got this resume, and I'm reading the resume, and I'm like, wow, this guy, he ran his own hiking company in LA. That's awesome. Totally understands about working with people. And then I read, like, he loves the farmers markets. Oh, a vegetarian. He loves vegetables. Oh, what's this martial art I've never heard of? So I Google it, and I'm like, this guy sounds amazing. I gotta have him in for an interview. So he comes into the interview, and he's wearing, his turban was this color, which is why I chose this scarf today. And I was like, this person has the most amazing mustache I've ever seen. I saw him and I wanted to hire him, but we have to do an interview. I can't just hire people without actually talking to them. So at Grow NYC, we always interview people 2 at a time. And I was there with my colleague who runs a different program, and she's from Eastern Europe. And so we're sitting there and we're talking about vegetables, and we're talking about how he leads these things and he does all this stuff with the kids. And she says, listen, a lot of times when you're out on the street, you get crazy people who come up to you, people who want to just start a fight. And, what are you going to do if someone comes up and starts yelling in your face that, these tomatoes were rotten and you should die because these tomatoes are rotten? And Hargobind says, well, there's no conflict because I'm not in conflict. And she says, what do you mean there's no conflict? They're yelling at you, they're screaming at you, they throw something on the thing, but there's no conflict because I'm not in conflict. And I thought, I'm definitely hiring this guy. At sites, and I would go visit, my thing I always loved was that Hargobind seemed to have a connection with every single person who came to the site. So every person would come and maybe they had a question about kohlrabi because they had never seen it before. He had a recipe, or he'd ask them about their pet, or he'd know about their kid, or he would remember that the week before they didn't like the potatoes they got and he had saved something extra for them. And he just made a connection with every single person that crossed his path. And I'm really glad that even though I only got to know him really in the last years of his life, I'm really glad I got to know him, and through him he introduced to your beautiful community. And I've gotten to know Dalveer, who's a beautiful soul. And I just wanted to thank Dalveer for inviting me to speak about how important he was to us, and to say how important you all have become to us as well. So thank you for your generosity and for producing such a beautiful soul like Hargobind. And I hope you have a wonderful day.
Alright, we'll now pass it on to Meera, who is a friend from our UK side of the family, so she'll share a few words, and then I'll go, and then we'll conclude with Dalveer.
So unfortunately for me, I'm the weird friend, but I think that's lucky for you. But we're really fortunate that through that we also then met Hargobind. We met him a few years ago, so I just want to share some experiences of the time that we spent together. So Hargobind was one of those people whose reputation carried him far and wide. So in random places like Malaysia, we suddenly met people who knew him, and they'd share stories of their youth together. And through those stories, we kind of learned a lot more about him, which I've heard many people say, actually. I've heard many people say that other people's stories really built them up and helped them understand who he was. And so when we first met Hargobind, I remember we were going to I was taking my daughter to LAX, basically, to go to the engagement. And all I knew that was that he was a Gurkha martial artist and he was a fire spinner. And I didn't know what fire spinning was, so I sat my daughter on the laptop and we YouTubed a fire spinning video. So after watching this, you're kind of thinking, oh, who are you marrying? And then we made our way to LAX to meet this larger-than-life character. And then when we arrived, Hargobind turned up, and he was like average height. So this larger-than-life character comes, and we expect what we call in Sikh this role. It's an archetype of a tall, broad, really a big presence, and we often think of that as a physical feature. But actually, when we met Hargobind, we realised that role goes beyond a physical entity. You know, it's carried within a spirit that you have. And from that very moment that we met Hargobind, it was very apparent that he has this role. So I remember Hargobind as somebody who encouraged other people to share experiences and start new experiences as well. And one of the things I always remember is how when we went to Malibu, he was talking about how there were some Gyanis. These are people who are knowledgeable of our Sikh Guru and can help us learn a lot more about the Sikh Guru. And these Gyanis were over from India, and they'd never been to the beach before. So he packed them off in his car, and he drove them to the beach. And when he was recalling the memories of their like complete glee and their, like going into the water like they were kids again, he was just like, he had the biggest smile on his face, and that's what I remember at Hargobind, about the fact that yes, he had new experiences, and he did things that we would just never do or we wouldn't think about doing, but he also encouraged other people to have those new experiences as well. And I think that's kind of something that I'll always take forward when I looking at my kids as well, in terms of encouraging them to have experiences that they don't otherwise have. So Hargobind and I personally bonded over our love for alternative music, because it's not often that you'll get practicing Sikhs who like heavy metal. So when you do find one, you cling on to them. So I remember him discussing his first concert, which was Guns N' Roses, and discussing whether, should he wear his hair down, should he wear it up? Because suddenly, you're in this crowd where everyone keeps their hair. It's like a very normal thing in the alternative heavy metal crowd to keep your hair. So he fit in with people other people who stand out, and I think that happened a lot with Hargobind. He seemed to find companions in other people who stick out, and I think that's something again that I encourage my kids to do because of him and because of the way he was. And going on for that, selfishly, I always look for inspirational role models for my kids. And again, Hargobind was one. The fact that he could just do what he wanted to do. He could do the fire spinning. He could do Gurkha. He was really strong. So my daughter was born loving nature and hating cars. And she definitely bonded with Hargobind for his love of nature and the outdoors. And he brought out the strength in her as well. So, for example, I remember going through the Hollywood Hills tour, one of his Hollywood Hills tour, and we were going up the stairs, and she was about she was about 2.25 at the time, and she was there was a lot of stairs. It was over 100, almost 200 stairs or something like that. So she was in front of us all, kind of pounding up these stairs, and I was saying to her, slow down, and secretly I was saying that because I wanted to pause and slow down, and she was like, no, and she kind of walked up these stairs, got to the top, and she kind of let out a big sigh and looked around at the view. And I'll always remember Hargobind looking at Balbir with the biggest smile on his face, being so proud of her and saying, "Can we have a daughter like that?" And then I'll always also remember his connection with my husband. I still think they're very similar in character, and they got on really well. So they shared loads of really late night conversations. And I used to joke with my husband actually that they were commiserating at who they were marrying, because in terms of, we're quite feisty as friends, we're very similar, Balbir and I. And we met I think we chose our diplomatic husband very well. So I think they were still like commiserating. And I think it's apt, I'll finish, I think it's apt that on these days when we remember a great Sikh warrior called Baba Deep Singh, who died almost 250 years ago. He died fiercely fighting on the battlefield. I think it's really apt that in this time we're remembering this gentle warrior, who I think has taught us a different way of living. He's taught us that we need to be at one with nature, and that we need to embrace and not fear new experiences. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa.
So as all of you pretty much know, I'm Hargobind's brother-in-law. So I've actually written 2 or 3 eulogies already, and I think a lot of you have probably read a piece that I wrote online. It's called Hargopedia, Life of a Gatka Star. So I would refer you to that. Actually, I don't think I can do a better job, because that piece was created. Actually, I interviewed Hargobind a few weeks before he was going to pass. So we talked about a lot of things, past, present, future. So I kind of poured everything that I could in terms of eulogy, but I think there's a few things I want to share with you here. I want to start with his journey, the start of his journey on this planet Earth, and I only learned some of these things, by the way, either a few weeks before he left, and actually some afterwards. So I actually got to know Hargobind in some ways, his sort of statistics relating to his life sort of afterwards, which is really interesting, because he was a very quiet guy. So he was born to a Punjabi South Asian father and a woman who is from Pennsylvania, who is Jewish, who fell up in love with the Sikh faith not too long before he was born. So when she was carrying Hargobind Singh, the story goes, and I've heard this after he passed, that his mom was really into Sikhi. She wanted to learn Punjabi, she wanted to learn Gurmukhi, so she was learning Punjabi from freshly arrived immigrants from Punjab, and she was really into doing Barnis all day long. I mean, she would just keep reciting Barnis. So Hargobind actually came onto this planet listening to a lot of Kirtan and Barni while he was in his mother's womb, basically. So that's kind of his start, which is a pretty amazing start. I know I didn't have that start. A lot of us are not blessed with that kind of start, but he did. And so he comes, and his mom actually named him Hargobind Singh after Cheve Badshah, 6th Guru of the Sikhs. And fast forward not too long after that, a year and a half, I think he was a year and a half, 2 years old. His mother actually was in a caravan of 2 cars, going from Southern California to New Mexico, and the car in the front was in an accident. His mother was in that car, Hargobind was in this car, there were 3 other adults. Everybody passed away except Hargobind. So his mom actually ended up saving him, because she actually kind of fell on him, and he survived it. He actually had her kirpan that she was carrying actually pierced his spleen, so he had his spleen removed. But he needed to live, I guess, so he lived. So that's it's quite an amazing story. And his mother was an artist. She was a sculptor. She was a veterinarian. She was known as a horse whisperer, like a fascinating woman. Who we would have loved to actually meet. And I'm sure I know Hargobind. That's he had a deep connection with her. So that's kind of his start. It's an amazing start, right? So I meet him for the first time right after 9/11 at a retreat in Houston. So it's a Sikh retreat, young adults, 20-something, 30-something. And the reason, so there were a lot of other people that I met that time, but the only thing I remember from the retreat is, because I attended many retreats, the only thing I remember is I met this Gora Sikh, white Sikh. That's my South Asian eyes looking at him. Of course, his mustache made an impression. And he did fire spinning. So I'm like, wow, this is like really interesting. This guy, he's white Sikh, he's got this beautiful Dastar turban on. He's got this fascinating mucha that he's got twirled as Salvador Dali. And I remember talking to him, and he mentioned to me that he was part of a group called Mutator, which was a music performance group. So I'm like, that stuck with me. It's like this interesting here. You have this Sikh who's into music, and he's into his Sikhi a lot. He does Gatka. So the next time I made a connection with him, and I did not realize this was Hargobind Singh. So I, as most of you know, I'm a cartoonist. I have a website called sicktoons.com, and I had a caption contest for about a year, 2008 to 2009. And the third caption contest was basically a Sikh figure I'd sketched. And it was basically a fictional economics advisor to President Obama, and you had to come up with a caption. So I got the winning caption turned out to be Hargobind Singh, and it basically said, do ardas and hand out 700 billion laddus, right? That was Hargobind's weird humor. I don't know if this was Hargobind. I thought it was funny, so I printed that cartoon, framed it, gave it to him, and then basically I met him years down the line through my brother. He was looking to get married. My sister-in-law was looking to get married. So that connection happened, and he still has that framed cartoon. So that was interesting. So you scored points with me on that one. So I got to really know Hargobind for the past 4 or 5 years, last 4 or 5 years of his life on this planet Earth, right? So he moved from LA to New York. He stayed with me and my wife for a little bit of time, and then they moved to their own place, him and Dalveer. So, when he first came here, one of the first things that Hargobind really got into is he really loved taking selfies. Now, he loved capturing himself. Majority of the photographs were his, not his wife's, once in a while, but it was his photos, and he was really good at it. So he's got these 2 wooden planks that he had done by men who were doing construction at our house, and he would go around New York City, and he had timed it. He would put this in, phone is there, come back, jump up and down. I mean, he had timed like 15, 20-second delays, and he took like thousands of photos, which we're still discovering, by the way, on his phone. So that's something he did. The other thing that Hargobind really got into is, and we knew Hargobind loved to eat, but he also loved to cook. He was a great chef. So Hargobind, very few of you are blessed with actually something that Hargobind cooked. It's now known as Harfi, and I'll give myself credit for naming that, but basically it's like a Punjabi, it's a barfi that Hargobind used to make, but Hargobind being a healthy guy, he didn't use processed sugar. He used maple syrup. And so it's maida, gram flour, and then maple syrup, cardamom seeds, and it's really good stuff, right? So we should have had him write down this recipe, we did not, but anyways, I've had it many times, so we've had it. So one of the things that I wanted to do in his honor, I wanted to channel Hargobind saying, so I actually made some harpi for all of you. If you can guess, Barfi becomes Harfi because it's Hargobind Singh. So I told him, look, you gotta call it, you gotta brand yourself. So Barfi became Harfi. He actually started a business called Harfi Incorporated. He was planning to actually have his own business where he was going to start with Harfi and then basically start selling it in New York City. Unfortunately, that didn't come to pass, but he did start the company. So I have 2 batches here. One has less kyo, which is clarified butter, so it's darker in color, and one is lighter, which is closer to how he would say it looks good, but it's got more kyo. So I don't think it's as good as Hargobind's Harfi, but it's a good try, and I'm gonna keep trying, actually keeping more batches. So I actually wanna read something for you, which was written by, as Harpreet mentioned, and actually somebody else mentioned to me, Harpreet you mentioned as well. A lot of people I have met people I never knew who knew Hargobind Singh from either Gatka days or his music connection. So I'm going to read you a eulogy somebody wrote from the Mutator group. So this is a performance group that does not exist anymore today. And this is from somebody named KJ. So I know Hargobind because we were in a band together, not just a 4-piece musical group, a 40-plus person techno, tribal circus, and immersive theatrical experience, complete with the spinners, trapeze artists, huge dancing puppets, and over 100 thundering drums. This is often how we describe ourselves, big and brash, loud and out there. Our group was many things, but the word peaceful and humble were not often used when discussing the Mutator. Thankfully, we had Hargobind to balance us out. We met Hargobind through the infant fire spinning community in LA in 2000 or so. Fire spinners can be loud and brash too, learning new tricks so as to increase one's level of badassness, a subtle one-upmanship on other spinners. In my memory, many of those performers and many of us in the band were motivated by the dreams of fame and glory that superstardom was sure to bring on us. And in this, Hargobind stood out. Out of all of us, he never seemed driven by ego or the applause from the crowd. Hargobind's performing was rooted in pride in his heritage and his dedication to sharing Gadka with as many people as possible. So he taught us what it was too. He was the first, and for some of us still, the only Sikh we have known personally. He expanded our worlds, made us a little bit more aware and compassionate just by seeing our friend. And the antics backstage, the whiskey, the hooting and hollering, the cussing and fighting, and Hargobind in the center of it, almost regal, reading a book between sets while the rest of us shouted and staggered around. To me, he always seemed so graceful, so peaceful and calm. I honestly didn't understand sometimes why he hung out with us. Surely we must be annoying him. He seemed so above our antics. In our time together, the 40 of us had plenty of chances to be annoyed with each other, to argue, to be stung by little comments or actions from each other. I think I can say with certainty that Hargobind was the only one of us who had no beef with anyone else, and no one had beef with him. The rest of us could always find things to angst over. Hargobind only brought peace and smile, and his awesome talent to our midst. I wish I had connected more deeply with Hargobind on stage, off stage, as some in our group did. I only got to go on one hike with him, but I will always remember it. I had lived in LA for over a decade, and he showed us places I had never heard of, a gorgeous trail in the Santa Monica Mountains, as well as an urban trail through Venice. I remember seeing beauty in small things that I would not have noticed, tiny flowers on the trail in the mountains, the sunlight through the leaves as we rested and picnicked, artsy succulent gardens in little Venice yards by the canals. I felt like Hargobind opened my eyes to beauty, and I was passing every day. That's what he did. He opened our eyes to so much. 40 plus weird, wacky people are maybe just a bit better than we were because Hargobind was our friend. Thank you, Hargobind. This is, among the many things sort of people experience. So, last thing I want to share with you is when I interviewed Hargobind, when I talked to him, I know all of you today, we saw the translation, right? Our spiritual guide, our living guru it's full of two things. It's talking about the creator energy that permeates the entire universe, and it's about the only certainty on this planet Earth, and that's our demise, right? We do financial planning, we do family planning, but what we do very little of, and sometimes we don't do any of, is planning for the only thing that's certain in life, and that is our departure. So me and Hargobind, we had a conversation about this. We talked about it, right? And for us, it was, unfortunately, sometimes these things happen, and they remind you, for myself as well, even to this day, that we have to prepare ourselves. And there's a lot of different things you can do to prepare yourselves. Obviously, for us Sikhs, we recite the words, the poetic words in our living guru. But there are many other things that you can do, and I think one of the things that I would share with you in conversation with Hargobind is, please spend at least a few minutes every year, if not more, just thinking about your departure. There's nothing morbid about it. It just might change your orientation and your planning about what you want to do and when you want to do it. You might do something you've been planning to do for the last 20 years. You're planning to do 10 years forward. You might end up doing it now. So I would highly recommend what I call meditate on death. Because there's nothing morbid about it. It happens every single day. There are people dying as we speak right now, but we just don't connect to them, right? Because there's somebody else's. We feel Hargobind's more, so we are sitting here. But there's no difference between those deaths, right? They're all going into that energy. And the way we can really dedicate ourselves to Hargobind, he was an incredibly graceful man who, me and Sapal would talk about it, that I hope that when we pass, we have his grace to say, look, I don't want to go, because he didn't want to go, but he took it with just incredible humility, saying, okay, my time has come and I got to go. So there's many more things I can share, but I think that's really it for me. So what we'll do is, at the end of the program, we'll actually have prashad here, and then we'll make sure you get at least a small, if not a bigger piece of harfi that I've made. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, and I'll pass it on to Hargobind's other half.
So it's really hard to do eulogies for Hergubin because this is my third eulogy, and I was married to Hergubin for 4 years. So now I've said as many eulogies as the years we were married. And Vishwajit just said, you don't plan for death. Hergubin and I had to start planning for his death before we were even married for 2 years. We had to start writing wills. I had to ask him, how do you want to die? Where do you want to die? Do you know which hospice you want to go to? Do you want to have kids? Hergubin lost his mother when he was 2. He didn't want to have a child in this world that only had one parent. And I actually remember sitting at Prabhjot Singh's house, who was really pivotal in helping us out, and he said, you guys should think about having kids. Have you saved sperm? And his mother-in-law was saying that, and I'm like, oh my God. And the answer to the question is, yeah, we did. But we didn't want to have a child in this. Because the reality of life is you can't do both. And so I actually digressed from my eulogy, but we were married for 4 short years, and in those years much happened. We moved from the West Coast to the East Coast. We created a home. He got cancer. We took the wheelchair and urinal, and we went to the Caribbean because Hergubin wanted to go on a holiday, and we had to make it happen. And then he got the stroke, and we went to Women's March, and then, well, the cancer always came back. And then he died. And on a sunny Tuesday morning, my eyes witnessed Hergubin's first breath and his last breath. In my arms that morning, Hergubin existed for a moment, and then for the first time ever, he did not. I don't think I will ever forget watching my husband die in front of me. It's not an easy thing to do. How quickly your body becomes heavy and cold and stiff. But he didn't look like it. He didn't look blue. He didn't look dead. He looked like my husband. He glowed. And that morning, the world lost its gentle warrior. And I know many people were before me, and they said great things about Hergubin. And I know if we were having this for me, it wouldn't be so easy because I'm feisty like Meera said. But for Hergubin, it is easy, and it's true. It's not untrue. He was kind. He was gentle. He was loving. And so when we speak well of Hergubin, it's easy, it rolls off your tongue. But you can't be brave or jartigla without being gentle. But Hergubin was also vulnerable, and he was afraid to face he had to face his mortality in a way that some of us may never face it. We went to that hospital on January 13, 2015, and we came out with a death sentence. And we had to live that every day. Every day that went past, we were 1 day short. And we went And people were like, oh, but my guru fixes everything. And I would look at their face and I think, oh my God, here we go. Like, you know, we didn't live in false hope. We accepted the cards that we dealt. And a lot of people were like, no, my guru will fix everything. That's like, no, that's not where we are. We're actually done. Our time is very quickly up. And we walked this path together, but we never really grasped the raw reality of it. We thought, we really did think we had forever, and that really wasn't true. And we didn't really understand it was true. Even when the neurologist told us, the neurosurgeon actually told us in June that I can do this surgery, but I'm only borrowing you guys time. I'm only giving you guys a couple of more months. And we were like, that's okay. Because Hergoben recovered from surgery so well, we were like, that's okay. We got this. We know this. Whatever. Hergoben's going to survive. And we went in and we were like, Hergoben's going in for surgery. Keep praying for us. And in our head, we were like, okay, we're going to go in, we're going to go, and we're going to say, we don't want ICU, we only want recovery room, and we're going to go home. Thank you very much. Send us a bill. And actually, on August 22nd, about 3 months from today, we officially started making Hergoben's final journey. We literally actually got 2 months. And as the tumor spread from one cell to another, Hergoben smiled through it. He won one Connect 4 game after another, often letting us win, as he said. He inhaled English biscuits even though they sometimes got stuck because he couldn't remember how to chew and swallow. He threw up everything he ate and then widely smiled because almost as a relief of the nausea that he didn't complain about. Until the very end, Hergoben did smile. And in between states of unconsciousness, he would always be smile ready for any photo opportunity. And Hergoben's smile in my head is beautiful because after Hergoben's stroke, he lost all of his left peripheral vision. So Hergoben's smiles would be slanted and they would be like that. And that's the Hergoben that I remember. And as Hergoben's body began to give up and the neuros misfired, he would spend ages sitting on the toilet. So whilst most couples had pillow talk, we had toilet talk. I would just sit on the shower chair, his shower chair, and we would chat. We discussed profound things about life and living and loving and death. We discussed our vulnerabilities. We cried and we laughed. And then at the end we would ask each other, are you happy? And I think that's a really important question you should ask each other. You should ask your spouse. You should ask your family. You should ask your friends. Are you happy? On September 3rd, Hergoben and I actually made our last visit to the Gurdwara. And actually Harpreet saw us and I was carrying Hergoben's legs like this and Vish is carrying Hergoben's one arm and my dad's carrying one arm and we're like, and he's like, do you need help? And we're like, no, we got this, but we didn't get this at all. He was really heavy. And we came here and we wheeled him to Maharaj. And Vish and I lifted Hergoben. And we paid our respects. We settled him back into the wheelchair and I collapsed to my knees in tears. I wanted to pray for him to live a healthy life. Instead, I prayed for him to have a peaceful passage from this world to the next. Later, we were downstairs and I was feeding Hergoben, and I believe that picture somewhere in this slideshow. And this young lady came up to us and said, I prayed for you. And she was really happy that she prayed for us. And I think she thought whatever we were battling could be won. But we had come here to find peace and letting go. So several times over from that day to that sunny Tuesday morning, Hergoben and I battled our own attachment to our physical existence. And when all the stars aligned and it was time for him to go, I cheated myself of a husband and I told him, it's okay, just go. And Herbin went. This time last year, Herbin was in hospital waiting for his 7th surgery. When Herbin was admitted, I told the surgical team, and there was a Punjabi girl as part of the hospital care. I'm so sure she hated us because I would go in and I'd be like, okay, we will be home for Thanksgiving. We know the drill. Make sure your bed bow works because it never works. And we don't need your food trays. And she would look at me and be like, I hate this girl. I wish she wouldn't come here. Because I was like, I don't care. Why is my husband not had his blood pressure? I was like the most belligerent wife on that ward. I am so sure of it. And I remember the resident was looking at me and saying, well, we can't promise this. And I said, no, I'm telling you, this is not a negotiation. We're going home for Thanksgiving. And you know, amongst I'm sure there's a few physicians here, I'm sorry, but I think physicians think that they know everything. And I was like, no, honey, we're going home. And today, I wish I could declare those same terms with the spirit world. I wish I could say, Hargobind is going to be home for Thanksgiving. But that isn't how it works. Instead, I followed the instructions that Hargobind gave me a week before he left us. He said he would always be in my heart. So when my broken heart bleeds because his loss is too much for my body and soul to bear, I close my eyes in crowds and alone. I see his chubby face, his almost bald head, and his beaming smile. And in the madness of his loss, I try to channel his sincerity and kindness. I want to thank you all for coming and sharing hope with us today. Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh.
Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. So I'm going to, in a couple of minutes, ask Guruji to come and do an unsubtle part. But I have a couple of things I want to say. So Talveer, I know she's been very honest and brutal about her own existence, but she is one of the best advocates you can ask for in any kind of mission you want to do in life, human rights, social rights. So if you ever need somebody, have her on your team. I want to take an opportunity to sort of channel Hargobind Singh a little bit. When I mentioned that I wrote a piece about him, it's Hargopedia. So we have a little family joke, inside joke. Hargobind Singh, very quiet guy, but he's like a walking dictionary. So he would always correct you on things. You'll just kind of, not in a mean, but just like, that's hey, let me correct you. So I want to take this opportunity to actually correct something that we in our community in Sikhs, when we do Barney, we almost consistently always make this mistake, and because we're about to do an unsub part, and there's a line in there. I don't know if you can Google that line. It's called, towards the end, those who chota unsub karne, we say, Anad Surna Vadapakyo, right? Almost everybody, including most Kirtini, they always say Anand Surna Vadapakyo. Right? Now, I know I'm nitpicking here, but Barney is precise here, right? We always do Ardas and say कि सानू, kharpata ko maaf karni, but it's amazing. And somebody in actually the Richmond Hill Sunday actually pointed this out to me, a young man, many years ago. So I make sure I don't make that mistake. I tell my family members not to make that mistake. But I see that mistake made by everybody out there in this Gurdwara, every Gurdwara. So I want to make sure today, and Virji, with all due, I'm going to ask you the same thing because it's Sare Karna. So we close our eyes, although it's right in front of it, it says Anad, and we all say Anad. And I want today, at least for us, as we go into our lives, we'll stop mispronouncing that one word. It's Anad Surna Vadapakyo, because it's a different word. Anand is a state of bliss. And Anad is basically the sound of that bliss that you're hearing. Because that word says Anad, the people who can hear that Anad are lucky, fortunate, right? So it's not Anand, it's Anad, it's a song of bliss. So I want to make sure, Guruji, maybe circle 3 times on this word, on this line, and let's not make this mistake. I know arguments like, dude, you're right, you're just spot on. But we make so many mistakes. But this one always pinches me because I don't want to go and tell every Paiji and every Kirtan, if you're wrong, you're wrong. But at least I have this opportunity because I'm seeing this event today. At least I can hope you can all go into your lives and never make that mistake again.
ਨਾਨਕ ਤੇ ਮੁਖ ਉਜਲੇ ਤੇ ਮੁਖ ਉਜਲੇ ਕਿਤੇ ਛੁੱਟੇ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ।